Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Subspace Developer Sync, bi-weekly, twice a week. Today, we are going to go around the table and get an update on everybody on what they've been working on. Lots been happening the last week or so. Nazar, would you go first, please?
Of course. Hey, everyone. I've been working on two things. One is related to Subspace monorepository. One update was to upgrade Substrate to the December monthly update, and that went well. The next update was to add CI for building container images and executables. So now when we create a tag starting with snapshot dash whatever, corresponding tag will be built for farmer and node images. The change spec will be published to the assets of the tag, and also to assets will be published executables for farmer and node for all three major platforms, and change spec will be embedded the same as in the Docker image, so they should all be able to talk to each other. I tried the Linux version, seems to work fine, so we'll see how it goes. Should be helpful for testing, and generally, like, anyone can create a tag on any commit. So yeah, there is that. There are two pull requests, one which was approved, but I'd like to discuss with Jeremiah, and the other one which is probably also worth discussing. The first one is about cost of storage. So there is an implementation for determining dynamically cost of storage based on how big the blockchain is, how much tokens is there in circulation, and how big the pledge space in total on the network is. And the second pull request is about salt to be derived from the chain randomness. Previously, it was derived from the ion index, which was deterministic, and that was not great. That wasn't actually secure against the compression attack. Now it should be secure. That's also under review. I was also working a little bit in the wider open source community. So one pull request was merged into Substrate upstream that fixes the priority for transactions eviction. When there are transactions with higher and lower priority, first transactions with lower priority will be evicted. So that was the root issue of one of the problems that we had in the past. Also, I submitted an issue about missing up-to-date images for Cumulus. So that's why we basically don't have the image for state mint. And that's why state mine doesn't want to sync relay chain. It's 2 months old. And an hour ago, I received notification that there is a pull request which automates all of that in the Cumulus repository. So hopefully soon we will have fresh images as soon as they release them. As soon as they release like a new version of Cumulus and stuff. So that is nice. I was also looking into the ratio coding a little bit, the library that we use. I fixed the problem upstream, like I submitted the pull request, it's not merged yet, to fix M1 compatibility that Ozgun reported. That should enable SIMD instructions on M1 and should make it much faster comparing to all of the other platforms. Right now, it doesn't use SIMD instructions, unfortunately. And the second pull request I submitted was to add NoCD support so we can compile it to WASM. That will be useful when we have, let's say, Subspace.js and we want to recover some data. So when we fetch pieces, we need to reconstruct the history potentially, and that is why we need ratio coding. So the library will technically support that. The only challenge there is that original maintainer is no longer working with that library and no longer does Rust, from what I understand. And he's looking for maintainers, so I volunteered to casually support it, but we'll see how it goes. And I also grabbed some domains, Subspace, like Subspace Forum, for instance. And Subspace Forum and some others. So that will be useful. All of them are currently redirects to either our Discord or our GitHub or our main website or YouTube, depending on what domain is. I think those are all. It's quite a long anyway. Any questions?
Busy as usual, Nazar. The only thing regarding the CI, let's make sure to cover that in the next call in a little bit more detail and review that with everybody.
Of course.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for notifications for everyone. I was doing a lot of test tags on GitHub.
I didn't get any, I guess. Maybe I'm not plugged into that anymore. Okay. All right, Liu-Cheng, you're up next.
Okay, so last week I firstly prepared a relatively reviewable branch for the series development so far. And then I was working on preparing a bare minimum cumulus and Polkadot and trying to merge it into the main branch. It's not yet finished, but I have drafted a PR for some early feedback. For example, if we want to like keep the hierarchical code structure or convert them to a flat one, and if we like to prune some optional dependencies from the Polkadot, or we just keep them for now. And furthermore, I submitted two tiny PRs to the main branch of Subspace on the repo. Yeah, pretty much my update.
Thanks, Liu-Cheng. And Nazar and I spent a bit of time discussing the decoupled execution spec in more detail on Friday. And I believe that we'll have a revised draft implementation plan for that by the meeting tonight.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have that ready before you're finished with this clean PR that you're working on. We'll have some time to go over that. Cool. All right. Any questions for Liu-Cheng? Okay. Serge, you're up next.
So last week I implemented WebSocket support for parachains for RealAir. So basically now we don't depend on finality endpoints. We can use any public RPC API using WebSocket connection. Also, I have implemented support for multiple endpoints. So whenever one doesn't work, we can switch. Polkadot actually JS switches automatically to the next one. And yeah, I also onboarded parachains we couldn't previously. The recent ones, Unique, Picasso, and few others, because they were not on finality, and now we don't have this limitation. And today I was working on investigating issues we had on all our environments during the weekend on dev, test A, and test B. Some of them were fixed by now. Some I'm still investigating, like test B is kind of very slow at the moment. Yeah, and that's it. Next, I will keep investigating test B, and I will try creating Docker image for state mint. That's all.
All right, thanks, Serge. Any questions from anyone? Okay. Let's go into the bugs that you've been seeing in the infrastructure call next.
Sure.
I'd like to talk about those in a little bit more detail. And we can also review the state of what parachains we have on the different test nets at that point as well. So you said you've got the new ones, those three new parachains for Kusama. Which environment is that in that those are synced?
On the dev environment.
Okay. Did you put that in the chat so the business team is aware of that?
Yeah, I tagged them in the, but I notified them that we have them on RealAir backend. I don't know if we already have them on UI part, but I tagged them in the thread, so they are aware they can start the preparation.
Great. Okay. Okay, well, on that note, let's talk about the front end. Leo, you're up next.
Oh yeah, hi guys. Sorry for the delay. Well, from the last week, I was working in the Subspace JS repository. Actually, I have some pending things in there, like renaming the full project to subspace.ts and making it build with Webpack. But I am really close to finish that. But from the other hand, regarding the relayer, I have shared the UI changes in the Discord channel, and also got some pending pull requests to review today to fully close the issues. I added all the new Kusama parachains and also the Polkadot chain, and added filter buttons in the UI to filter by ecosystem, and also fixed some WebSocket queries and RPC queries to the server. I had a lot of testing in the weekend. Maybe that could cause some issues in the dev environment because I was testing like a lot of queries in there. Maybe your issues was related to that search. So for you to know. And actually also worked in the Polkadot Explorer. I was able to fix the block authoring problem. It is now showing the account ID and is the same account ID that the block was recorded. So I was able to confirm that and also share this branch with these changes. I will create a pull request to check that, but it was working with the latest versions. And yeah, I think that I will be working in this storage API first version to publish in NPM. I will be maybe bothering you, Nazar, with some questions. And yeah, I think that that's are my updates for now.
Great, thank you, Leo. Does anyone have any questions for Leo? Okay, let's discuss that testing you were doing in the next call when we go through those bugs, see if that was the
Yeah,
issue.
sure.
Okay, and I did get a chance to look at the UI you sent. It looked good. It was hard to see. I don't know if it was my screen or what, but I just couldn't see it in like very high resolution, or like it was still very small. So it's kind of hard to say without being able to play with it. If it's
But
working in the dev environment,
yeah,
go ahead.
you checked the image or the HTML was not scaling well?
No, just the image, the screenshot that you shared. But if you can share a link, or if it's live in the dev environment, I'd love to play
it's
with
in there.
in that way.
It's in
Okay,
Discord.
cool.
You can check it.
I wasn't sure if you had shared, if you had actually deployed it or not yet.
Yeah, it is deployed in the dev UI. It's not in the
Great.
testnet UI.
Great. All right. Okay. Ozgun, you're up next.
Sure. So last week there were some bugs present in the plotting tests, and these tests were not passing at the moment, but they were resolved and PR was submitted. After the PR, I was implementing the suggestions, and along the way, one of the bugs reproduced itself, unfortunately, but it is again fixed, I believe. If it comes up, I believe the root could be that not enough sleep time for the plotting. So we could just increase the sleep time, tweak it a bit, and it will be fixed. Other than that, I see no issue there. And with this PR, I believe Farmer binary to library transition is now complete, finally. Also, I synced with John Heater on Desktop Farmer, and now the application is working on my local machine. I had to do some modification, like export export async to the terminal to make it work. Nazar asked if that could be fixed with updating the things. I figured out today that this issue is caused by the latest Node.js version, which is 17. If I roll it back to 16, I believe it will be gone because people said it in the Stack Overflow. So other than that, I played with the code a bit for the desktop farmer, read some documentations for Tauri, watch the official tutorial from their site. And last but not least, I started writing an article series that will hopefully explain the main blockchain concepts to anyone from scratch. I'm planning to write 8 parts. The first part is completely done. The second one is almost finished. Besides that, let me check. No other updates. All that.
Okay, Ozgun, you said that there was a Node.js issue that was causing the desktop farmer to not work?
Yes. With 17, version 17, I believe they changed how SSL works. Like they dropped some legacy support, and I had to manually export that legacy support to the terminal so that it could work. And this is happening with the version 17, as I said. There is a fix, but I couldn't apply to our case. We can discuss it, or I can try to figure it out by myself.
Where is Node.js used in the desktop farmer stack?
For the build step,
Oh, for the
the
build.
build system is NPM based, and front end is built also using that. I guess we can try to just upgrade it. Maybe latest version is fixed. We are using a little bit out of date version.
I'm on the
Hopefully,
late.
resolve
Like
itself.
I updated it like 3 or 4 days ago, and it's crashing. Yeah, not update but downgrade is the solution.
We
How
can
much
try to
experience do you have?
ask Mio to help with that.
Yeah. How much experience do you have with Node, Ozgun?
Like near to 0.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you get help from Nazar on that one?
Sure.
Or I mean, anybody like Serge, Leo, anybody else can help you sort that problem out. I'm sure pretty easily. So yeah, don't try to tackle that one yourself if you haven't been able to figure it out yet. Okay. What's the 8-part series? The articles that you're writing? Is this on Subspace or on blockchain?
The goal is to explain the primitive things on blockchain, then jump into Subspace and explain Subspace. That's the goal. So anyone without any blockchain knowledge should be able to read it and should get a pretty solid foundation of how blockchain works and Subspace works and why they should trust to this project.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that some more after this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Justin, you're up next. Sorry, does anyone else have any questions for Ozgun or comments? Okay, Justin, you're up next.
Awesome. So over the past week or so, I know I've been missing the past couple dev updates. Spending a lot of the time with the community, answering questions, trying to just stay on top of the influx we've been getting. Been working with my 2 ambassadors and some of the other ambassadors on a few of the other projects they've been working on, kind of helping them get the ball rolling, you know, answer their subspace related questions that they can't really figure out for themselves just yet. Due to the amount of conversation and like questions and stuff I've been answering with all the community, I'm starting to work on like an early version of a wiki for Subspace. Basically, it would just be kind of explaining how Subspace works, more from like the user perspective, like here's how you'll store on the network, here's how it's going to work if you want to retrieve data, more from like a wide, high level at this point, and then obviously we'll get it more detailed as we work out some of the finer documentation. And from there, haven't done too much on the development side over the past week, to be honest. I've been trying to get a little bit more familiar with Datadog to be more helpful when it comes to, you know, helping out with the various different environments we have running. I've also gone through and just been double checking the security stuff that I implemented a few months ago, as far as like the DMARC reports, and making sure our email and domain is still secure. As we're like we mentioned, we're seeing more people coming through, so I just want to make sure there's no other issues there that may have been missed.
All right, thanks, Justin. Regarding the wiki, are you like doing that as a development thing, like you're building a website for a wiki, or are you just collecting information to put into a wiki?
Right now, I'm just collecting information. I was planning on using something simple like Docusaurus or something along those lines. Just, you know, something that can just start up and good to go, not really have to spend too much time developing it, making sure it's good.
Okay, I'd like you just to focus on the information collection side. Let's coordinate that as a team as to what we're going to do and get Nazar's input on the architecture there for how we're going to do a wiki, because this could actually become a massive project. And we've got to make sure that it fits in with the website, that it's on GitHub, that it matches versions of like our protocol, our specification. There's like quite a few things in here that need to be, it's basically documentation that we're talking about. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's something we definitely need. Let's collect the information. Let's figure out the structure. It could just be Notion for now. But then if we're going to deploy it as a website, if we're writing any code for this, let's get Nazar and some of the other people on the team's input on how we're going to set that up before we deploy that. In the meantime, we can just expose the Notion page, you know, over the website for now.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll get it all documented and everything and link back up with the team from there. And one last thing I was working on too is I'm also trying to work on a small little script to automate YouTube uploads for us, so we don't have to focus on that.
Is there anything Restream can do for that? Is that just
it's more for live streaming? Yeah.
Okay. Thought you might know the secret magical process there.
You can like upload the video and it will be going live at some point, but not like just uploads.
Okay. All right. Great. Any questions for Justin from the group? All right. On my side, I've just been juggling 15 different things like usual. And on the engineering side, mainly working on the specification or the implementation plan for decoupled execution. A lot of discussions with Nazar and Liu-Cheng on that. And we almost have a full plan for how to implement that over the next few months that will get us to effectively kind of what we have in mind right now for decoupled execution and basic vertical scaling, and even some horizontal scaling within one node. After that, I'll be working on the work with Nazar on the peer-to-peer network specification or architecture, which is really what's blocking him right now on working on distributed farming, which is really the next major step on the distributed storage network. Okay, any questions for me? All right, anything else we need to discuss before we close out? Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys again in a couple days.